Hello everyone, and welcome to video 4 of our web developing tutorials. In this video we're going to have an introductory to CSS, which is cascading style sheets. We'll look at those and see how they work. It's very important, I think, to start CSS early because you'll be using CSS to change the way your HTML looks. And there are ways of doing that in HTML itself, but they're not recommended ways of doing it. The best way to do this is with CSS, and that's why we're going to go ahead and jump into CSS early on so that you can learn the correct way of adding styles and changing the way your HTML looks. To begin with, we are starting out with the same HTML document we were working on before. We're going to add some style sheets in 3 different ways, or little style information I should say, in 3 different ways. The first way is going to be an inline style sheet. So if we go to the paragraph tag that we have on the page, and we're going to add a style attribute, and inside that style attribute we're going to say color blue, and then a semicolon. This is going to make all the text change to a blue color on that paragraph. And let me just refresh this. So we have a blue colored paragraph here. That's called an inline style sheet because it's in line with the element itself, the HTML tag. It's in the HTML tag itself. It's an inline style sheet. So that's the first way to add a style to an element. The second way to add a style to an element is to use an internal style sheet, which is in the head of your HTML document. You're going to add a style tag, and you'll go ahead and close it. And then the style tag, you can actually just throw straight CSS into it. For this, we're going to create we're going to work with that paragraph tag just a little bit more. We're going to put some more styles on it. So your styles start out with the HTML tag, but you don't put the angle brackets around it. And then we're going to use some curly braces to enclose all the style information for that paragraph tag. Inside those curly braces, let's just set the color of our paragraph to red. We can save that, and I'm changing the color because I want to show something. So notice that the color doesn't change when I refresh. It stays blue. It's because this inline style sheet here on the element itself has priority. It takes priority. So even though the paragraph tag is getting style information from this internal style sheet, this overrides that style. So if we created another paragraph but we didn't give it any inline CSS, we can say this is our second paragraph. And if we save that, now if we come back over here and we refresh the page, you see that the second paragraph is red. It's getting that style information from the internal style sheet, but it has no inline style sheet to change it. We could also give it an inline style here. We'll just call it, we'll change the font style on this one to italic. Save that. Now the second paragraph is italic, while the first paragraph is not. So that tells you how to use style sheets in 2 different ways, internal and the inline methods. Now there's one other way, and this is probably the one that I use the most. In this method we are going to create an external style sheet. I've already created one, but you could create a new one just by double clicking on this bar and creating a new document and then saving it as site.css. So let me just close this out. Now what I'll go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and recreate that so that you can see that that's done, just in case. So we double click on this bar, we've got a new document, and then we do a file, save as, and inside our web dev folder we'll just create a site.css. Okay, so in the site.css we're going to add a little bit of style to the body, which is the main tag that shows everything that's in your HTML document to the user. So the whole body, we're just going to give the whole body a background color of gray. We'll save that. Now if we come over here, we're not going to get that background color because we haven't told the HTML document where to look for styles. We haven't linked that style sheet, so we need to link that style sheet. And the first attribute we put in that link tag is a rel, which is the relationship, and this is just telling it that this is a style sheet. And then we give it an href, and since that site.css file is in the same directory as our index.html file, we can just link straight to it by typing the file name here. And the link tag is a self-closing tag, so we can go ahead and just do self-closing on it. Now if we refresh it, we do get a black or a gray background that's showing that this external style sheet is working. We can also change a few more things in here. We can change something about the paragraph here. Now I'm going to do this to show a little bit more about the priority. Let's change the color here to white on the paragraph. So now let's save this, come back and refresh it, and notice that none of our paragraphs change because they both have styles that are overriding that external style sheet. The external style sheet has the least priority. So if you look at it from the point of view of this paragraph tag here, the very first style that's applied to it is this color, red. And then since this is above it, this is kind of loaded first, and then this is overriding it. So this actually overrides this external style sheet. If we remove this internal style sheet and save it, now our paragraph will turn white. And that's the cascading portion of the CSS. It just the styles cascade, and you can get different style information from different places. That's all we're going to do for CSS right now. In the next video, we'll talk about colors a little bit more and work with a few different CSS attributes that we can add to these elements and maybe make a better looking page than that. Thank you for watching, and if you would, please subscribe.